Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody on a Monday? What the hell is the Pro Bowl? What are they out of their minds? Excuse me. Let's play 7-on-7 because that's the game we play when we play the regular game. Excuse me. What are these idiots thinking? Okay, we play football, tackle, 11-on-11, the whole team. Let's play 7-on-7 in the Pro Bowl where our superstars are playing. Who is the idiot? The same idiot that came up with this is probably the guy who's charging for parking at Caesar's Palace and charging for the sports book and getting away from normal blackjack tables, right? It's the same idiotic thinking that'll bankrupt all these hotels and ruin the NFL with all these commercials and let's play in Germany and let's play in Mexico and let's play on the moon and all this crap. What a joke. We don't want to get anybody hurt. Then don't have a Pro Bowl. Why do you have a Pro Bowl? I mean, these are your all-stars, so why don't you show them? Have a game. You know, the NBA doesn't play defense, so it's worthless. Baseball is worthless. I mean, all this, I don't want to get anybody injured. It's just stupidity. It's part of the game. People get injured all the time. People get injured getting out of the shower. Does that mean they shouldn't take showers? It's just so bizarre. Anyway, I didn't watch 2 seconds of it. I had the Munsters on. There you go. And the 2 Utes. Anyway, so let's look at the Super Bowl. Philly -1.5 at every sports book, 50.5 over under. So your free pick now is take over 44.5, and we're going with the dot, Kansas City +7.5. If KC goes favorite, then we're going to make a second bet over Philly and 7.5. Only if you get Philly and 7.5. So if the spread goes to even, we're not betting it. It's got to be KC -1.5, like the Cincinnati game last week, right? What happened? KC opens at 2.5, 1.5, the injury. Cincy goes to -2. Then at the end, KC's -2. The game was a 3-point game. So you went both ways. I only took Cincinnati as the dog. And I took what did I take? I had it with the San Francisco under. So I didn't need to play it in the thing. That's the only thing in the Super Bowl. You need to kind of play both parts. You got to play the over under and the team if you're playing a teaser. So your thought is maybe I just play the over. That's the surest thing. I don't like the 1.5, but over 48 or 50, I can see that hitting. It should be a high-scoring game. No injuries. Mahomes fine. He's the only one I know who gets a high ankle sprain, which takes 4 to 6 weeks to heal, and he's healed in a week. That's just amazing. Unless he never was hurt in the first place. Or it was a sprained ankle, not a high ankle sprain. Yeah, we saw the replay, but big deal. It doesn't mean it got hurt on it. And yeah, he acted, I saw the guy run out of bounds very fast that you can't do if you have a sprained ankle. So don't give me that shit. So it's a lot like wrestling. They fake the injury and then he, jumps up and down on it. And then in the meantime, he's able to put a figure 4 leg lock on somebody. What happened to your injury? Well, I really didn't have it. Or they come out of the ambulance running to the ring. Yeah, I'm injured. Yeah, well, I was. Now I'm better. I got all better. So I'm seeing too much wrestling going on. I'm seeing too much phony crap going on to not, to question everything. So my matchup, It was really Philly playing Dallas and Green Bay and giving up a bunch of points like UCLA and USC, being very good defensively until they play each other and they play an 80-point game. Same thing here. So I don't think Philly's defense is really that good because they haven't played anybody who had a good quarterback. The Giants in Washington, there was 5 games of teams with no quarterbacks. The ironic part was the backup for the Giants looked the best. Webb looked better than Jones and Tyler Heineke or whoever was at Washington. But that's 5 games against nobody, and then you get a 19 defense. So let's see how you play it, against a really good passer. And all I can get is Rodgers. That was it. Prescott, maybe. He's okay. He got 40. Hey, Ryan. That's why I call him Ric Flair, because he thinks he's a wrestler now. He limps off like he's hurt, like Ric Flair, and then he gets you in a figure 4. And he's like, oh, don't hit me. And he gets on his knees and he's begging. He never had a high ankle sprain. It was all bullshit. Like Kelsey. All of a sudden on Friday night, Kelsey has a back injury. He's questionable. Didn't look hurt Sunday. Didn't look hurt in the interview. They both looked perfectly fine. If they were really hurt, they'd have ran into the locker room and iced it, but they didn't. So I don't know. I just sit there and they're WWEing it, and that's fine. And we're not going to get Madoff on this. We're not going to go and act stupid and go, oh, my God, we're going to get to the point. We're going to get to the bottom of it and go, they're just fucking around and they're faking. We've got to be smart enough to realize, just like I showed yesterday, the gold 9/11 was a gold robbery. You've got to look into what happened and why. It wasn't anything to do with a terrorist attack. It had everything to do with the gold robbery. Mahomes is not injured, and neither is Kelsey, and you got to realize that. So now with the healthy Mahomes, I like Taysom plus the 7.5 because obviously he's healthy. Philly's not going to blow them out. They haven't faced a good quarterback but Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know how good Aaron Rodgers was at the time they played him, but all right. But they put up 33 points on him. So if Philly was really that dominant of a defense, they would have shut out Green Bay or shut, 7 points. They didn't play Brady. They didn't play Denver. I mean, they didn't play anybody. They didn't play anybody with a good quarterback. Oakland, Kansas City. So you can't get a read on Philadelphia being this great defense when they didn't. They had the Indy Jacksonville division. So Philly, I think, is a product of an easy schedule. Much like the Lions. The Lions always did well when they had an easy schedule. They beat all the nobodies. And the following year, they had a harder schedule because they had a playoff schedule, and they'd go, 6-8, or whatever their 14 was. And then they'd be terrible, and then they'd get the easy schedule, and then they'd win. So they can't beat anybody good is the bottom line with like teams like the Lions, and I think Philly got a lot of that this year. Ryan, they want Mahomes to be the next Brady, in my opinion. I think we'll go on to win the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl MVP, and everyone on TV will say, how gutsy, because he's gonna do a little bit of Ric Flair, and he'll limp around just enough. But then when he needs it, you don't see a limp. Like the play out of bounds, you didn't see a limp. He ran as fast as he could. The injury was gone. He runs out of bounds and takes the dive to draw the flag. What happened to the ankle? Wasn't it hurt? No, apparently not. So that's what you're dealing with, the WWE here, or WWF. I never know what to call it anymore. But we need Hogan to come in and drop the leg down, and Ric Flair to figure for the referees and stuff like that. Make it exciting. Yeah, it's sad that, it's like everything else right now. The Fed wants to not call it a recession, even though everything's short. They want to keep raising interest rates, even though that's killing the economy. My favorite is China's upset. We shot down their balloon. And the question is, I had a high ankle sprain in basketball. You can't even put anyone. Of course, exactly, Ryan. That's my point. There's no way he could have ran out of bounds and taken the dive if he really was injured. So again, it gets back to the point of, well, where did this high ankle sprain come from? Who's calling it a high ankle sprain? And then Mahomes' excuse is, well, you just got to deal with the pain. Oh, okay. Deal with the pain. Yeah, right. Now you're not even on the injured list. So you're the only one, as I go back to my cousin Vinny reference, that you can make the grits on your stove in 5 minutes, and the rest of the grit eating nation, it takes 15 minutes. You're the only one that can do it because you have magic beans. And that's what Mahomes has, magic beans, that he can get over a high ankle sprain in a week, and the rest of the whole world, it takes 4 to 6 weeks. And you can't put weight on it. Thank you, Ryan. Exactly. So now you have this big balloon going over the country, and it's 60,000 feet in the air. And what are they saying? Well, it's a Chinese spy thing. How the fuck do you know it's a Chinese? See, you've got to question that. You can't just assume because they call it a Chinese spy balloon that it is. So let me understand this. China, who has everybody's computer rigged and everybody's phone rigged, has to have a balloon to spy on us 60,000 feet when all they got Joe Biden as the spy. Joe Biden's controlled by the Chinese. Why don't they just have Joe Biden drive around in his car and take pictures? Or I don't know what it is they would possibly need a spy balloon for that they don't already know or can't gain access. Why don't they just have 1,000 people fly here and drive around in cars and nobody would suspect the thing, which they probably have anyway. I worked at Toyota. It was all Japanese. So they're taking pictures and spying on us and all this other shit. What I don't get why would you need a balloon? What is it you're going to gain from the balloon? 60,000 feet up. Oh, so you have a camera that can shoot 60,000 feet down and get something clearly? Really? Okay. Now, the most obvious to me was the color was not red, it was blue. Well, if it's going to be China and it's going to be communist, they're going to have a red balloon, not a blue balloon. Come on. So you got to think logically, how do you know it was a spy balloon? Because they said it? Oh, we're supposed to take their word for it, like 9/11 wasn't a gold heist, or, anything that comes out of their mouth. There's no inflation, there's no recession. We're just supposed to, everybody's laying off everybody. Interest rates are very high, but we'll just assume this time raising interest rates doesn't cause a recession, even though it has to. Because things cost more, you buy less. You don't need an economics degree to understand that, do you? If you want to buy pop, you pay $159 and now you're paying $2.99 for the 2-liter. You have less money to spend on other groceries. Therefore, it's a recession because you're going to spend less because you have less because things are costing more. But you know what? If we don't count food in the inflation fact, and really there is no inflation because everything that's being inflated, we're not going to count. Why aren't they challenged about that? Why aren't you counting food? Why aren't you counting rent? Why aren't you counting utilities in your inflation thing? So inflation's really 17 to 20% going up. Now the government can say we don't have any, or it's coming down. The way it's measured is bullshit. Why isn't people questioning that? You can't look at year over year and think that's how you measure inflation, because that's bullshit. Because as I've pointed out, we'll use my buddy, just for you, Bobby. So if this is $50 and then inflation hits and their costs go up, maybe, and they raise it to $100 and nobody buys it, the only way inflation will stay there is if this goes to $150 because it went up 50. And if it's year over year, now you're looking at a $100 price tag. It's got to go to $150 with your logic of that's inflation. My logic of inflation is you're measuring it to the 50. So because they couldn't sell because the market didn't want to take it at 100 and substitute it away, Now you've lowered it to 80. Is inflation going down? No. It started at 50. Now you're at 80. Inflation's still up because you're not going to be able to go from 1 to 150. You're going to go from 1 down to 80 because the market's down here. You always have to hit market. So what people, for some reason, except from me and you guys, don't understand is if the market is here, $27 for ribs, I'll keep it where what we can relate to. If you got $27 ribs and you raise it to 35, you're not going to get anybody to buy them because people are only going to spend 27 on you. So therefore, if you raise your prices, you're fucking yourself and you got to go out of business. Excuse me. I mean, it's obvious the market, us, control everything. This is what we're going to pay for Canadian club or for ribs. And if you mark your price higher and you blame the inflation, you can't. See, so people think with inflation comes higher prices, and it's not true. It could be true, but if we don't agree, if we don't want to spend $5 on Cheerios, and we say we're not going to do it, the only way they can stay in business is to sell them, so they have to lower their price back down to market and figure out another way to cut their cost because the dollar's lost value. So it's always going to be market, and that's why businesses go out because their costs went up. They can't make the 20% because they can't raise their selling price because nobody's going to buy it there because of the substitutable goods, and that's what happens. So then you have the reverse, which is gold, where it's a reverse monopoly. So normally you do a monopoly where there's only one good and you mark the price really high and people have to buy it. They can't substitute it. God, excuse me. Thank God it doesn't hurt my back when I do this. It's like my nerve on the bottom, it's like shooting on my right butt and my right thigh. It kind of loosens up. I took some ibuprofen for it, so it just takes. It's funny. I'm lying in bed. I don't feel anything. I get up and start walking around, and if I hit the wrong way, the nerve booms and takes me a while. I'm okay. Like, it's weird. I'm okay sitting here if I find the right position. And then now I catch a cold on top of it, so I got my green tea. Anyway, with gold, so the monopoly's backwards. The monopoly, what they're playing is keeping the price low, which makes demand huge. Everybody's buying it, and therefore it'll break the monopoly that way. But you don't substitute gold. You keep buying it because it's so cheap. Jesus Christ. So my pet peeve with gold is these idiots that don't understand the difference between paper, derivative, price fixed gold, and physical gold. Now, there is no physical gold price. That's what we're going for. That's what we're trying to get to. And the price will drop because of the derivatives. And everybody, oh, look, gold's not, it's going down. Well, you don't even understand that's not real. It's fantasy. It's not, it's paper that's going down. And I really just hate when I see these idiots and they don't even understand it. Let's take a look at YouTube, some stuff. So the first thing is I get aggravated by this. It's happening, gold and silver, warning. People have no idea what is coming. See, I hate that whole, let's get people to watch the video. And you watch the video and he doesn't say anything, or he's talking about paper gold or the supply being low and it's going to go up. So why is there a warning on it? Why do you need this headline to get views? If you knew what you were doing, you don't need the headline to get the views. You would just say, gold's about to go up, like I do. You don't need to scare people to watch your videos if you know what you're doing. So that's the first. So this idiot, I won't even watch. Let's see. Then you got this idiot, gold and silver being drained. He's had the same heading for like 3, 4 months now. Silver warning. Why is it a warning? This is about to happen to gold and silver. And what he basically is saying is it's about to go up because it's running out. They're draining it. Everybody's taking it because they're all panicking. And all the central banks and some of the banks know they need the money. And India and China and Russia are buying it. And again, it's a global thing. It's not a U.S. thing. So again, why is there gold and silver being drained? We know it. You've told us about it 1,000 times. We get it. You don't need to keep repeating yourself. You look like an idiot. And see, and this is like a repeat. So it's got 8,000 views, but it'll make it look like it was one day ago when he probably did this 3, 4 months ago, and he keeps repeating it because it's only 8 minutes. So they have these little clips. Instead of me doing a 2-hour show or 2-hour class, I can skim it to like 8 minutes. I can take like 8 minutes and make it short, and then you'll think it's new. Even though it's not, Let's see what other. So here, China condemns U.S. action. China condemns U.S. decision to shoot down sky balloon. Well, what did you want this guy to say about it? Is it a spy balloon? Who knows? Is it Chinese? Well, okay, by his reaction, we assume it is. What did you want him to say? He's happy that we shot it down? He condemns the U.S. What does that mean? Are we going to war? No, we can't go to war. It's impossible. Okay, so you condemn it. Okay, big fucking woo. You're not going to do anything, and so who cares? I'm going to read this. I'm going to watch this one. Women only want this. Modern women on dating apps only want one thing, and that thing is money. I can tell you that without even watching this, but I'll watch it just to be cute. Then you have this U.S. super bubble. Economic data, falsification to rescue dollar, super financial crisis, economic data falsification to present a financial crisis. Really? So you're telling me the U.S. is lying to us? Oh, they would never lie to us. So I don't even have to watch this to know the data's false. You don't do it. You don't do inflation. If you think you don't tell us, we don't know, like we're idiots. You raised it. If you're raising interest rates, it's automatically a recession. If you're printing money, it's automatically inflation. It's got nothing to do with prices. You're devaluing the dollar, and you need to buy gold and silver. And we don't need to be told to buy gold and silver. Once you have inflation, you buy it. Period. It's the only thing that's going to save you. So we don't care if they, scam it or not, or say this or that. It's all over in Crimea, which is good news. That means the Ukrainians won there, whatever that means. Even Russian Navy fleeing. Russians in Crimea made the tough decision. So Russia's leaving all over. Okay, so basically Ukraine's got their country back, right? Because Crimea, Donetsk, Odessa, all these places are Ukrainians. So basically all they've done is got their stuff back. My question is why aren't they taking out Putin? That'd be the first thing to do, hit the snake in the head or make him go to Argentina with Hitler. That's what I would do, is get him out of there. That's the only way to win this, is get him away from being the leader, right? Otherwise, he's going to keep doing the bullshit. Let's see, what other goodies can we find in here? See, now I have this big argument. This one says, you won't believe what the elites are planning to do to us, right? Now, what they plan and what reality is are two different things. I had this conversation with my buddy last night. Well, they're trying to do a digital dollar and one world order and one world religion and that. I go, well, they can try. Hitler tried to rule the world. We see how that ended. You can try, but it doesn't mean that's reality. So now you have the BRICS countries, China, Russia, South America or South Africa, Iran, and Saudi Arabia have their own currency or bits and pieces of it backed by gold. Then you have Latin America, Brazil, Venezuela, Argentina coming out with a Latin dollar. And then you have the U.S. and Britain and Canada kind of in their little group. How are you going to have $1 if you already got three different sections doing their own dollar, their own governments, their own things? Secondly, how are you going to have one world government? You think these guys are just you think the head of England and the head of the U.S. and the head of China are just going to sit down? Excuse me. You think these guys are just going to say, can you see Biden going, yeah, you're right. We're going to have a one world government run by the Pope and I'll just resign. And Putin going, well, you know what? I'll just resign too because we're going to have a one world government and I'm going to resign. Are you fucking kidding me? Where is this in reality going to happen? Putin's so stupid. He's in the middle of a fucking war that he can't win and he won't surrender. How are you going to have a one world government? How are you going to have a one world religion? Well, they'll just be whatever. Well, there's Jewish, there's whatever the Hindus, whatever the Catholics, Christians. Well, how are you going to have one world religion? We'll just stop practicing. The Jews, the Catholics, the Christians. How are you going to have Notre Dame, Miami in a football game if it can't be the Catholics against the cons? I mean, we can all say this would be nice. It'd be nice if gold was 100,000 an ounce, but we got to wait for it. It's not there yet. Hey, Greg and John, I'm fine. How are you? Hope you're well. So I gave my free pick. Take the dog in the Philly KC game with the over. I already bet it. And now if KC goes favorite because they're playing to win and they go to a 1.5 or 2, I'll tease Philly plus 7.5 with the over. It'll be a close game because TV wants it close. You're not blowing Mahomes out. You're not blowing Philly out. It'll be a close game. So right now I got the dog in the over, and I'm assuming the dog will flip. Probably by Friday, you'll start seeing Kansas City even, and it'll be 1.5. And by Sunday, they'll be 2-point favorites. So I was very specific with my guys. Right now, get your bet in Kansas City as the dog over. And as it goes, then you're going to bet. We're betting both teams. We'll bet it's a close game. We know it's going to be high scoring. That's how I'm looking at it. What happened, Greg and John? So what's going on with your lawsuit? What's happening? It's okay, Greg and John. We can fix whatever you did. That's what I'm good at. So anyway, how are you going to have – so it's great to have these thoughts. I don't see why you would want one world or government, one world currency. Everybody has their own currency. That will never work. You're not even going to have you might have a world digital dollar, but it won't be the only currency and it won't be money. You can't have a digital money. You can have a debit card that theoretically is digital, but it only works if I have money in the bank to cover. So if I go spend $100 at the grocery store and I use my debit card, if I don't have $100 in the bank when I use it, I can't use it. So it's not really digital in the sense that we don't have the money in the bank. It's only digital in the fact we're not carrying the money to pay them. We're using a debit card, so it's easier, but it's not digital money. in the sense like a Bitcoin's digital money. We can see how well that works. First of all, you don't know the value. Secondly, nobody takes it. Even the Teaser King doesn't take it. You can't, if you want to buy my picks, I either take PayPal or I take silver. You're not paying me in Bitcoin. I don't want it. I don't know the value. It's not even money. I would rather take a Rolex or a Tom Brady card than take Bitcoin. It's funny how people are that they would rather get out of money and go to Bitcoin than get out of money and go into gold. It's amazing how stupid they are that they can't see. Excuse me for eating. You know I don't eat till noon, so my apologies. So they're smart enough to get out of the dollar because they know it's being inflated. But then why would you go into Bitcoin, something that isn't money, that isn't a medium of exchange, that isn't accepted by most people, that we don't know what the value is? It's certainly not gold. Why would you go into that? You're better off buying a Rolex or buying a nice old penny that's graded MS-70, or, maybe buying a stock, but that's even manipulated. I mean, you really want to stay out of fiat currency because they're printing it to zero. I mean, that's what happens. They print it and then they think, oh, wait, we owe more debt. Now it's next month and I owe the debt. I know the interest on the debt. I'll print more money to pay it. Well, the more money you print to do that, the less the money is worth. So it's like you keep losing value the more you print to pay the bills. That now, if you print $1 million, you need to print $1.1 million to get the million because you've devalued it until it goes to zero, which has always happened. It always will. How can I fix a medication injury? Go fast, Greg and John. Fasting will fix everything. Your body will fix you, right? You break a bone, you break your arm, you get fixed. Apparently you have a high ankle sprain, it fixes you much quicker. Look at me, my foot was bothering me. I went on a 75-hour fast and it's fine. Now my back's bothering me and I got to go on another 48-hour fast to fix that. You can only go on so many of these fasts before. I mean, you got to have some food in you, but get out of the sugar. So I don't know what the medication, what's a medication injury? Did you take the wrong thing and therefore you got, I've never heard of a medication injury unless you took something that you were allergic to or something else. Basically, have a lot of water and tea, green tea, no sugar, get out of sugar, get out of carbs. And you, my boy, need to do a 72-hour fast. So they gave me Xanax and you're allergic to it. Okay, just fast. I get you. So if you fast, it'll clean your body up. Your body, there's a guy in your body. And when you fast, he goes and looks for food and he cleans you up. So let's say you have cancer cells. Cancer cells are bad cells, sort of like orcs. They were elves once and they went bad. So your cells in your body turn into cancer because they went bad because you probably had too much sugar. So you go on a fast and then your body, the guy inside you, goes and sees these bad cells and he gets rid of them and he cleans them and dissolves it. He cleans all your cells and he gets rid of all your bad cells. So you got an allergy, you've got bad cells or whatever created the, it probably killed cells. I don't know what an allergy does to your body. I know you disagree with what they gave you and you get a fever or whatever. So go do a 3-day fast. And on a 3-day fast, you just don't eat. You can have all the water you want. You can have green tea and coffee, no sweetener, no sugar. So you're going to have cinnamon and you're going to have lemon and you're going to have water or tea. You put your green tea in it. you are not having any sugar and any sugar substitute and no food for 3 days and then report back to me. Fasting cures everything because your body is healing itself. You get out of the way by not having an ice cream or cookies or chips or any bullshit Oreos, which causes problems for your body in the first place. So get out of your body's way. And the best way to get out of your body's way is don't eat. Let your body clean itself. It should handle the allergic. Right now, my back's really sore. It's been sore for a week now. I obviously did a nerve. I assume the sciatic nerve or whatever. I don't know how I did it. Maybe I'm just getting older. Maybe it was in the pool. All I know is it hurts like piss. If I turn the wrong way, sometimes it doesn't hurt. I don't know to stretch it or I don't know. Should I leave it alone or stretch it? I got to watch a YouTube thing on that. But basically, I need to fast, but I can't. I'm not ready to fast because I just fasted 75 hours from my foot. So I need another little bit of time. Maybe I'll do well, I'm eating now. So maybe tomorrow I won't eat. I'll eat dinner tonight and then I just won't eat all day tomorrow. And that'll be a 24-hour fast. I wake up, I'm on 36 hours. I have lunch. It's a 44-hour fast. And all I've done is not eat tomorrow. So I might try that and see if it heals my thing. I'm on some ibuprofen. There's some rub. Here's something for you guys for injuries that's supposed to be incredible. So my witch doctor friend at the pool, who knows all this, who gave me like the Zerbos and who gave me the silver. So she's really into this kind of stuff. Has recommended for my foot or my back this arnica. And it's a cream, and I rub it on my back and or rub it on your foot or rub it wherever you have pain and it's gone. Give it 2 hours. She said her mother was walking with a walker. She couldn't walk. She was in such pain. She put it on her feet 2 hours later, and she didn't need the walker, and she's dancing around. I don't know that this numbs it or it cures it. Lasting pain relief, muscles, joints, and back. Homeopathic, plant-based pain reliever. So it relieves the pain. Again, I'm not really sure, but it's this arnica. Okay, you get it where I got this, I got this. So that reminds me I need to take my for my cold, a little vitamin D. Although the sun's out, I'll get some of that. And there you go. A lot better than Tylenol and all the crap they give you. So I'm going to take this after the show. I got to rub it on my back, my hamstring. So it seems to be if I walk a certain way, I'm fine. If I walk a different way or sit a different way that hurts my nerve, then it gets my hamstrings and it's very difficult to walk. So we will see what is going on with that. In the meantime, it's avocado time. I got a hamburger that I cooked. I cooked 10 hamburgers with 3 pounds. This is really the only thing I don't is the pita bread. I put olive oil on the frying pan and put it on for a couple minutes. And basically, I'm making olive oil bread or whatever you'd call it. And, this is probably the worst thing I eat. But there's not a lot of carbs in it, as you can see. And, okay, that's fine. You can have some carbs. The carbs turn to sugar. It's okay to have some sugar, but you got to be careful. So Greg and John, do the fast for me, and then let me know how it's working. There's not a lot you can do. So they didn't know you were allergic to Xanax. And now I guess you know, and you won't take it anymore. So at least you caught it pretty quickly that you know that's what it is. Let's see. What else do we got here? So here's the thing on China, which is very important. Mortgage default and high debt. China's Great Recession arrives. 460,000 companies closed down, 800 million people in debt, China's economy. So you go and you read this and you say, well, what the fuck does that got to do with us? Because it's a world economy. It's not a US economy. If China's closing down, they make everything. Where are we going to buy it from? Plus, China buys stuff from us. They're customers. Do Chinese people buy Teaserking? Well, I doubt it. I doubt they know what football is. But if I was selling, Bellagio cups or my Canadian club, I might have China customers, but not anymore because they're all bankrupt. This is communism for you. This is where we're heading. Oh, but it can't happen here. Bullshit, it can't happen here. So this is why I argue that China's not the number one economy, but they will benefit from us not being the number one economy either. We have mortgage default, we have high debt. So mortgage default and high debt. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like what we have? Sure as fuck does. 460,000 companies closed down, 800 million people in debt. That's because the banks are closed. They can't get to their money or they go. So what do you do as a country? How I would fix this would be to go on the gold standard and say, okay, you can buy gold. That'll get you out of the debt. That'll keep the companies from closing down, and you won't ever have mortgage default and high debt. If you're on the gold standard, you can't have debt. It's all inflation. They're printing too much money. Here's a perfect example. Well, print money, that'll save you. All right, go ahead, China, print. What do you got? $800 million people, 800 million people in debt, not $800 million, 800 million people. Mortgage default and high debt. So if they got high debt, why aren't they just printing more money and handing it out? Because the amount of money they'd have to print would bankrupt them anyway, right? Because as you print to cover all this, the value of the dollar drops as you print it. That's the problem with the Keynesians. They're a bunch of freaking idiots who think that you just print your way out of it. And my point is, no, if you had gold, you would never have that. It's impossible to have that shit with gold. You could still have debt if I were to borrow money for a house and then I can't pay it back, but I would just give the house back car. What else am I going to go in debt with? Most of it's mortgages is what this, mortgage default. So China's Great Recession arrives. What did it just arrive 3 hours ago? It just arrived today. Here it is, a week early because it's supposed to arrive after the Super Bowl. Keep your eye open after the Super Bowl. When that ends Sunday night, you watch Monday. The shit's going to hit the fan here, something terrible. So be careful, be prepared. Buy gold like I'm going to run and buy another 20 ounces of silver this weekend. I should get my Social Security check in the next few days, and I will buy another 20 ounces of silver. But I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to share it with my WhatsApp people. So what other What other things do we have? Why most marriages are sexless, because they get married for the wrong reason. And they're not, people aren't honest and people aren't open because they're not INFJs. 5 reasons why I'm not mean enough, because I'm trying to help. That's why. So anyway. Great panic in the Kremlin. The families of Russian soldiers have risen up again because they're tired of them all getting killed and they're not getting paid. Anyway, that's about all I see there. Craig and John, what did you delete? Anyway, so do the fast. That should help you. So what do we have? We know the whole world's in trouble financially because they all printed money because they listened to the Keynesians. See, this is my problem. Why do you listen to them? When have they ever been right? So if somebody's wrong, like I get this with like college quarterbacks, like Mills. He sucked at Stanford. Houston drafts him. Houston plays him. Well, what do you expect to happen? The guy was terrible at Stanford. He's not going to be good in the pros. So what in God's name would you think he'd be good? It's not like there's not good quarterbacks in college. We talk about them all the time, especially year over year. Like Kellen Moore, well, nobody picked. He was on the Lions. Nobody traded for him. Then they're all looking for quarterbacks. Then they go to like a Blake Gabbert because he's played a few downs in the pros. He sucks, but you know what? He's at least got some experience. It's amazing how bad the coaches are that they actually got to see the guy in the pros play. They can't look at him in college like Van Dyke or Cam Rising or Hartman. Like, okay, we're watching them play. They're pretty fucking good. We don't really need to see them play in the pros to know they're going to be good pros. We can clearly see they're going to be good pros. So it just is amazing what these people do. And then when they start playing like Brock Purdy, is San Francisco really not going to make him their starting quarterback? I mean, after what he did, you're not impressed? You're going to go to Trey Lance, who hasn't shown you anything. And I love it's because they traded 3 draft picks for him. That doesn't mean he's any good. It means you just wasted 3 draft picks. You're wrong. You should never have done that, but you did. And that's your problem. But if you find Brock Purdy, now if I'm another team, if I'm Houston or any of these teams, I'll take Brock Purdy. Thank you very much. A, he's cheap because he's on the rookie contract. B, he's better than anything you got. He's the top 5 quarterback. Now, I don't know about his injury. Was it a Ric Flair injury? Let's assume he's really hurt. All right, how severe is it? You give him surgery. Well, that happens all the time. Look at Mahomes. High ankle sprain. He's out for a week, not 4 to 6. So this guy hurts his elbow. Okay. How bad is it? And how long is he going to be out? And Montana hurt his wrist in the 1990 championship game. That's why I went to Kansas City. The guy sacked him and he kind of held his hand up and he broke his wrist. So Montana was out for like 2 years, right? He didn't play the whole next year, and then he came back, I think, the year later, and they traded him to Kansas City, figuring he wouldn't come back, and he was getting old, which was it was a terrible mistake. So if Brock Purdy has to sit out a year, and then you get him the following year, you got a really good quarterback. So I just sit there and you can tell good players from college. You cannot hope bad players get good. And that's what these idiots do for some reason. This is why they go through so many GM and coaching changes, because they don't know what they're doing and they hire the wrong guys. It's why people go into Bitcoin. They don't know what they're doing, but everybody else goes in. So they think it's a good thing. I'm watching Madoff. Why did everybody get into him? Because everybody else was in him. Well, if Fred's in him, I'll invest in him. Well, what does he do? I don't know, but I'm going to invest in it. It's like when they tried to get me into an annuity at the bank last week, and I said, I don't want anything to do with fiat. I knew not to go in it. I didn't have to listen to anybody tell me to go in it. Well, you can get 9%. Well, 9% of zero is zero. So I don't need fiat money. And that was, I knew not to do it. I didn't need to be told. Most people are clueless and can be talked into things because they're clueless and they don't know who to listen to, so they listen to the wrong person or the nice person at the bank. They would never lie to me. Oh, they're the biggest thieves of all. Anything that would do with banks and politics are the biggest liars in the world. So that's what you got to know. But people, I don't understand people. They don't know who to listen to, and therefore they get burnt, and they don't know why they get burnt. Buy gold. It's not that hard. Well, yeah, but it doesn't really do anything. Yeah, because its price fixed down. Yeah, but it'll never go, and I want to make money. Right now, you don't want to lose money right now. You don't want to make money now. Where are you going to make money? Stock market, crypto? You might as well go play poker and bet football games. You have a better chance of winning money than you do in the stock market or crypto or anything else. Go buy a fucking Rolex. I mean, go get a Mano card. You have a better chance of making money there than you're going to in the stock market or whatever the fuck you're, getting an annuity for 9%. This is the problem. People are clueless. You're better off in gold and not losing and understanding it's price fixed and understanding it's going to go away from price fixing. And it'll go to a real physical price, and which is be 100 times higher than it's at now. And you just got to be patient to wait, but you're not losing value because the value is being manipulated down. It's not real. Therefore, there is no physical price. So you have to be smart enough to realize. So if gold's 2,000, let's see what gold's at today. So if gold's 2,000 an ounce, and it's not the real price. It's there is no physical price, so therefore you don't pay attention to it. You go, fine, it's still worth a lot of money, and it's not going to lose value. And that's really what you're looking at. I mean, what do I show you every day? I show you this 10 o'clock. I show you this 10 o'clock chart that shows gold dropping at 10 o'clock. What are the odds on that happening? Raiders slow Josh Jacobs contract negotiations, hint at an Aaron Rodgers deal. Absolutely. You'll win with Rodgers. You can't win with Jacobs. All right, gold. Let's see. Gold is what? 1865 up 20 cents. Look at the drop at 10 o'clock. It goes from 1875 to 18. It goes down $11 at 10 o'clock. Just amazing how every day at 10 o'clock it drops. So what happens? And then it goes right back up right after. You can see the V at 10 o'clock. So what happens? How does that happen? Because that's when London settles. Silver's at 22. So when I go buy my silver on Friday, it'll be 25 instead of 27. And these idiots think they're accurate with their price. I mean, this is the part that really makes me laugh is They think 22 is a real price, and they think their $3 or $4 premium is what, physical? They think that's the actual physical price? Are they out of their minds? The Dow's at 33,000, and it's the most. This is the fakest number in the history of life, this number. There ain't no way it's 33,000. Not with the companies can't make profit. And look what's happening to China. So you don't think any of the U.S. companies do business with China, either buying parts or selling parts? Probably more buying parts. Stock market today, Dow falls. Dow falls 107 on Tesla stock rallies on Musk verdict Twitter comments. Stock market nervous after blowout jobs report. Up 150%. The Dow falls 175 as Tesla stock rallies on Musk. Why is Tesla stock going up when they can't sell electric cars? Just a thought. Unbelievable. So what, is everybody going to run out and buy a Tesla? Is this what they're saying? Are they going to meet earnings because they're going to sell a much at $50,000 at 9% interest? People are running to buy Teslas? Okay. Carl Scheffler will be the head referee for Super Bowl 18 between the. Now, here's the concern with this guy reffing. So let's see if he's on the Kansas City payroll. This will tell you who to bet. Oh, you see, it's blocking me from reading the story. It wants me to pay. So I tell it to go fuck itself. See, I hate that. We'll put a story out, but you got to pay for it. Yeah. Well, it's the Kansas City Star, so obviously the guy is a Kansas City. There's a legitimate concern about the referee assigned to work Super Bowl. Well, it's probably not the one you have. Maybe there's in the same family, but different branches of the tree. Carl Scheffler got the gig, which we learned before the knowledge that the Chiefs and Eagles being along with him. That name brings about certain feelings in Kansas City, as if the crack in his voice, the feeling might be mutual, but let's get out of the way first. The perception that Sheffers is out to get the Chiefs is lacking the sufficient. Oh, so this referee is out to get Kansas City, supposedly. Yeah, okay. So that's what that's finally all about, is he doesn't like the Chiefs, so he's gonna make calls against them. Which doesn't surprise me at all. Too bad he wasn't the ref last week, or Cincinnati would have won. So good. I thought I swallowed a lemon pit, but I didn't. I didn't have a lemon growing in my stomach. So let's get back to people not knowing and then not trusting the right person, or listening to the wrong thing. Buying Bitcoin. Why are you buying Bitcoin? Give me a reason. It's not money. It's not gold. Why would you buy it? You can't use it anywhere. The price goes up and down without a rhyme or reason. I can tell you why to buy gold, because it's real money and they can't inflate it. I tell you to get out of the dollar. So I'm telling you these things. How do you know to believe me? Well, you don't. You got to trust me. So do you trust me? That gets to the question of, who do you trust when other people tell you to buy crypto? Do you trust them? And then do you ask us, your buddy or your uncle, buy Bitcoin? Okay, why? Does he know? Well, you trust him because he's your uncle or your cousin, but does he know why to buy it? No, because I would never recommend that. So a lot of people are fucked up because they don't know what to do. And like, are they getting out of the dollar? Are they selling their stock? No, they're comfortable. And I now think it's all a comfort thing. So I think most of life's comfortable. You date a girl, you're comfortable. You're not comfortable at first, then you get comfortable. Then you have the little relationship, and then, so it's all about comfort. Are you comfortable together? Are you comfortable with the guy telling you to buy stock, telling you to buy gold, picking your games? At work, do you trust? I find there's more backstabbers at work lately. People can't wait to tell on you. I mean, I could see it where I was. I'd say buy gold. Next thing you know, I see people walking into the boss's office. I know what they're saying because I can feel it. And I just laugh, like, what is your problem? If you don't like me, tell me to my face, but nobody will. They all run and go there. And it's a joke. Why am I getting in trouble for telling you to buy gold? Why don't you tell me, you know what, Howard, I don't really want to hear it. Okay, fine, I won't tell you anymore. But am I wrong? No. Am I telling you the correct thing? Now, I had one guy at work, he took out $100,000 and bought gold with it. He got it. Then he went back and bought, I don't know how much, he bought a bunch of silver. So he's got 100,000 in gold and he got a bunch of silver because I told him to. So I helped. And yet the other guy is sitting there telling the boss, I'm doing this. And you're like, do you think I would tell you that if I didn't know? If I don't know, I'm not going to tell you because I don't know. I don't have an answer. And I'm telling you, I don't have an answer. So it's just really, bizarre. What's going on in China? Well, I've told you about what's going on in China. The Evergrande went bankrupt and these people owe on houses and they're not paying. The banks are closed. They can't get their money out. So, of course, you're going to have defaults and debt. And it's going to affect the U.S. if China defaults. And guess what's going to happen? So let's take it to the logic about this China default. How much gold does China own? 40,000 tons at least. They're going bankrupt. Well, you know what? If our gold went up from 2,000 an ounce to 40,000 an ounce, that would solve our bankruptcy. We'd have the gold, which would have value, which would pay it off. There's your solution. So you've got to think about it, right? If the price goes up, they're not in debt anymore because now they can cover it with all their gold. Why did they have the gold in the first place? So that's my big pet peeve with the gold is if it's such a bad thing to own, why does China own 40,000 tons of it? Why does Russia own 15,000 tons? And why is India and South Africa and Iran and Saudi Arabia, why are they all buying gold if it's such a bad thing? We all hate Putin, but he's not an idiot. And if he's got 15,000 tons of gold, there's probably a real good reason that he owns the gold, right? So therefore, when you say, I don't want to buy gold, what's your choice? You're going to keep your money in this as they print it to death, and now they're saying they're lying about it. You have inflation, which means you're devaluing the dollar, period. Prices going up, causing a recession, because that's what prices do. The more it costs, the less sales are made because you only have a finite amount of dollars. So if I have $100 and I go to the store and I want to buy 100 things that used to be $1, now they're $2, I can only buy 50 things. That's a recession. I can't buy as much. There's 50 things I can't buy that I was buying. That's a recession because those products are going to get hurt because I can't buy them. And I can't get another 50. I can't get $200, right? So I need $200. I can't get it because I'm not going to get it working if I even have a job. So therefore, all the companies are in big trouble because they're not going to sell it because the people that are buying it have to spend more on Coca-Cola and Oreos and Cheerios that they don't have the extra money to go buy certain things at Target or Kroger's or wherever. They're not going to buy a car, so all the car companies are going to be in big fucking trouble, as well as all the part manufacturers and the people selling them steel and tires. All these people are fucked because if I'm not selling, I have to cut back, and I don't have the money. So now I cut back on my manufacturing on my products because I don't have enough. I can't sell what I have, so I don't want to make more. So therefore, I don't order more. So all those people now get hurt because they can't. Their sales are dropping. They're not smart enough to budget inflation because they don't have people like me working there. Because there's only a few people like me that absolutely understand what's going on. Most people don't. As I told my CFO at my last job, you'll be bankrupt by March. You'll be out of business. Don't worry about it. And you're not smart enough to buy gold. Then you're an idiot. You obviously have no brains in economics. You missed the whole point. You should never be in business. If you don't understand Austrian economics, aka classical economics, what I teach, you should not be in business. Because it's obvious what happens. It's obvious action reaction, which I taught you in the beginning. So as interest rates go up, economy slows down. That's the action reaction. How do I make the same budget when I know my budget will never stay because my costs went up? My budget's got to be down. I'm not going to make the same sales. I'm going to lay people off. I'm going to lose customers. Well, how the fuck do I make the same budget? Okay, I made 10 million last year. Okay, I'm going to make 11 million this year. No, you're not. You'll be lucky to make 6 million. Where the fuck are you going to get the sales to do it when nobody's got money because of the inflation and the money? It's worth less anyway. And if you raise your prices, you're going to lose sales. So you're going to lay people off because you can't sell the ribs for $40. So let's take a look what happens at my barbecue place. What he's been doing, he did listen to me. He's $27 for a rib for the slab, but he raised this chicken up a little and he raised this fish up a little. So he's cute. He cut, you know how you go to a barbecue place and you get the wet and dries. So after the meal, your hand's all full of barbecue sauce. So there's these little wet and dries, and you'd open them and the little towel's wet, and you would wipe your hands with it and then use a Kleenex or a napkin to dry them. Well, you stop putting them out there, and I'm thinking, okay, that's saving you all of what, $5? Like, so for his thought, he is raising his prices on chicken to offset his prices on the ribs going up. So I give him credit for that. He figured that out. That wasn't even my idea, but I did say you need to cut places. Now, he doesn't have a big staff. He needs his chefs, and then he's got waitresses. Well, the waitresses get paid by the people who come in and tip. They don't come in, he fires the waitress. It's not a big deal. He needs his chefs, so that's fine. He needs his meat, so maybe he buys a different place, or maybe he just buys less, figuring he's not going to sell. Hard to figure out what he's doing there. But his rent's going up, his utilities are going up, taxes are going up. So his fixed cost, paying the rent for the restaurant and the ovens and property tax and electric and heat is all going up. So he's got to figure out a way and his cost for the ribs are going up. So he's got to figure out a way to compete and be in business with higher costs, but he can't raise his prices. Well, he can raise it on chicken, but he can't raise it on his ribs. So right now he's okay, but let's see, because at the end of the day, it cost me 10, but I can sell it for 15. So I go into business. But as soon as your costs go to, as soon as it goes to 20, but you can't raise your prices because the market dictates what your price is set at, that's when you go out of business. That's why these businesses, look at how many in China were going out of business. I don't remember what was that number. 460,000 companies closed down in China. 460,000 companies. I mean, how many people are you laying off? 460,000 companies closed. They all have employees. All these people are out of work, meaning they're not spending money. I doubt they ever retire. Who knows what they have in China? What are they living off of? They've closed the bank account. So these people they better get the fuck out of there. They're going to be in big trouble. I'll tell you that. If they don't already have gold, it's too late for them, but they should have been buying gold as they go. But the funny part about China is gold doesn't leave the country. I don't know if you can physically take gold out of the country. I don't think they allow it. So we will see. I have been able to take gold out, give it to Jenna in the Ukraine when we meet. An ounce here, a half ounce there, some silver. I just throw it in with my change when you go through, where you take your belt off, you put your shoes on the belt, on the little plastic, and it goes through x-ray because they're looking for weapons. They're not looking for gold and silver, so it doesn't trigger it. So right now you can get it out, but I don't know how much I can get out. I'm not taking all my gold, but I can take a few ounces here and there. But we'll see what happens. And I might have to start taking some gold out of the country now with the thought of I might not be able to get it all out, or there might be problems here. And therefore, just to be on the safe side, I'm putting some in Switzerland or Amsterdam, or giving it to my friends in Romania, saying just hold it. And they'd hold it. They would hold it. I wouldn't worry. I'd give them one, and then say, here's 20. Keep them in a good, safe place. If I had to. Right now I won't, but if it comes to that, then I will do that. And we will see. But that's the problem in China. You got all these people that buy American things that aren't buying anymore. If they're not working, they're not getting a paycheck. 460,000 companies. Jesus Christ. I mean, so who's left in China? So there goes our whole economy. So now what do you need in China? You need gold. So they don't have the number one or number two economy. And these people that do these YouTubes are out of their fucking minds if they don't think this is going to affect their economy. I mean, they're fucking nuts. There's no way you run, but it's going to happen to the U.S. I honestly don't know who will be the number one economy, because the same shit is going to happen here that happened there. And we will see. So I don't know who's it going to be. What? It ain't going to be Europe. It ain't going to be Japan or India. I really don't know who it's going to be. Poland, maybe. The number one economy it ain't Brazil or Argentina, and it ain't maybe Saudi Arabia because of the oil, where they won't close that. That's all they have. So maybe they become number one. I don't know. But Russia's in big trouble. They got to pay for the war. I don't know. This is really shaping up to the destruction of the financial system. And then my friends saying, well, yeah, they want it. Then they'll go to digital dollars. I go, do you think these morons can do digital dollars? So you think they collapse the currencies and ruin the economy of the whole world? You think they're smart enough to do that? And you think they're going to go to digital currency? I go, these guys are too stupid to do digital currencies. It's going to take 10, 20 years to get a digital currency. And then why would you want one digital currency? I go, that's never going to happen. These guys are too fucking stupid, governments, to do anything like this. Hitler tried it. Stalin tried it. Don't work. If anybody could have pushed it through, it's a guy like Hitler, who was a total dictator, freaking nut, right? If he couldn't do it, these idiots, what are you going to have Biden do it? The Chinese guy, Putin can't even run a war. I'd be better off with Zelensky from the Ukraine running it. He's a comedian. It's funny. He's a comedian. He's running the war and he's winning yet. That a comedian's beating Putin. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen. So at the end of the day, gold and silver stand up because you can't fuck with them. You can't put them to death. You can't raise interest rates on them. There's nothing you can do to gold and silver. It's about there's nothing you can do. If I have an ounce of silver, it's going to buy me a whole shitload of stuff. If I don't have it, what do I have? Paper doll? What's this going to do for me? You know, or I got Chinese yuan. What's that going to do? So it's interesting. In China, they have the digital dollar and they have the yuan. And that's my point. You're always going to have this to go to Kroger's and to go to the restaurant, eat the barbecue, fill up your car with gas, go to the gas, buy a pop at the gas station. You'll always have this. What are you going to do with the girls in Amsterdam? It's $60, 60 euros. You think they're going to take digital dollars? I don't think so. Hey, Gregor John. You retracted a message. I hope you're okay. So what's going on? You're starting your fast? Anyway, so that's what you got to realize. The digital dollars, again, I told my friend, it's just a smoke screen. It's a way of a trial balloon, but it'll never cut. These guys are too stupid to actually do it. And I don't know how you could possibly do it because you do need money for a lot of things. How are you going to set prices in digital dollars? Especially, how could you ever have one currency? So what, a hamburger in Michigan versus a hamburger in Korea, you think they're the same price? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's you won't have the FX, but what are you going to do? You're just going to have $100 digital currency, like a Bitcoin? And what does it buy? Everybody, it's all fucked up. There's no way you can possibly have it. Now, maybe you can try, but what would I pay for this with digital currency? And then what would it cost if I'm in China with it, or Russia, or Switzerland? It's going to be different prices, so it's going to be different digital currency. It's a fucking nightmare because you can't have one. Everybody has their own. That's how it would work, and that's how it should work. Anyway. Yeah, Professor, I lost my job to this. They had special on CNN about these meds. Why are they legal in a doctor's office? Because they make money. I mean, that's why things are legal. How can you lose your job by getting sick? You should sue. Yeah, so that's your lawsuit. I agree with you. I know women who get pregnant can't lose their job because they get pregnant. Now, you've got to stop watching CNN, Greg and John. That's your first problem. Do not watch CNN, the Communist News Network, MSNBC, Fox. Don't watch any of this crap. Just go to YouTube, go to Netflix, just go to my channel. Just don't fucking watch CNN. It's all a scam. It's all about whatever. I mean, who knows? But you can't listen to it. Why are they legal in the doctor's office? Well, until the government makes something illegal. Why are cigarettes legal? They kill more people than anything, cigarettes. It's all poison. But yet, you can go buy cigarettes. So you can't ask that question because it's all about taxes. It's all about money. This is the economy that we're living in. So if Xanax makes them money, they're going to sell it. Pure and simple as that, because this is about making money. And therefore, that's why they do it. You've got to be smart enough to research and not listen to CNN about, is there a problem? And if you don't know you're allergic to them, if you just do the facts, you don't need medicine. So that's the first thing. Watch your sugars. Don't eat your carbs. Have a lot of water. Have a lot of proteins. Eat your eggs. Eat your steaks. Eat your hamburgers. Eat your veggies. Eat your fruit. You won't need any drugs. I don't take any. This is the drug I take is is this, or these aren't drugs. These are all herbs and spices, right? I don't take drugs. I don't trust them. They fuck your system up. The vaccine that killed your immune system was not good for you. Why did they allow that? Money. And they're trying to kill us all. But that's really what you have. You got to be very careful taking anything. I don't know Xanax. I don't know what it does, but if I don't go to the doctor, he can't prescribe anything. So I'd rather take this. The worst thing I take is the ibuprofen, which I've taken before. But outside of that, it's kicked in now. I don't have that pain in my side right now. They mess your system up. I wish I did research. Well, that's where the fasting comes in. The fasting, now think about it, right? You break your arm, your body heals it, right? That's how strong your body is. You break your leg, you hurt your foot, the body heals it. That's why we fast, and that's why we eat properly. If you eat lunch at noon, dinner at 6, 7 o'clock, have a tea or a water at 10 o'clock at night, don't eat breakfast, maybe a coffee, and then eat at noon. So you're really eating at noon and 6 or 7, noon, 6 or 7. Your body will keep yourself clean. You won't get sick too often. I don't know how I got sick, but because I don't normally, well, that's why you see me eat here. It's noon. I mean, I'm getting up. It's great. I'm retired, kind of, I think. So I'm eating, I start eating around 11:30, 12. The only time I don't is when we're on vacation, and the hotel gives you breakfast with it, but it says until 10. So we go down at 9:30. Now, I don't want to eat at 9:30. I want to eat at noon. But if I paid for the breakfast, or I know there's an omelet, I don't have to get into a cab and find a hotel. I can just walk down in my sweats, eat my eggs, my bacon, have my coffee, eat some more meat and veggies. Then why would I, so I'm going to do that. That's the only time I eat earlier is when we're on vacation. And then when I get home, I fast. But that's really what you need to do. And watch your sugars, and especially your carbs, because if you have a bagel, it's kind of hidden that that's sugar, right? You don't think of a bagel as sugar, but it's carbs, which turns into sugar on you. So really, that's the problem with them. So you got to be very careful having too many carbs, because you don't think you're eating sugar then, right? But just watch that kind of stuff. Just have your vegetables, put in some broccoli and red and yellow peppers, make a 3-egg omelet, throw it on top, put your hamburger in the omelet, and you're done. And you're fine. And that's how you're eating very healthy. It tastes very good. And then dinner's a steak, a ribs, chicken, hamburger, meat, fish, anything you want. And you eat a lot of that and a salad. And you just think it's healthy. And then you get like 90 chocolate. So you're eating the cocoa, which is very healthy for you. Not too much chocolate, but 3 or 4 squares. You don't eat it like M&Ms. You just have 3 or 4 squares of the chocolate. Gives you your chocolate fix, but it's healthy chocolate. And then just a lot of water and, green tea or coffee or whatever you like. And just avoid the sugar, and you'll be very, very healthy. You won't need all this shit. And this shit is designed to fuck you up anyway. Well, they want to keep you sick. Think about it, right? So in Fritos, they have ingredients that make you eat the whole bag, right? You ever sit down and eat Fritos or Doritos or Lay's and not finish the bag? You ever eat 10 of them and then close the bag up? No, it's impossible, because they have chemicals in there that make you keep eating it. Okay, so with that in mind, that's what the drugs are. The drugs, they kind of keep you sick. So how much Xanax were they going to make you take? Or I love these drugs, oh, wait, you got high blood pressure. We're going to put you on a high blood pressure drug for the rest of your life. Well, wait a minute. If I fast and stay away from sugar, my blood pressure will go down to 120. I don't need your fucking drugs. I mean, they want to, that's their thought, right? You'll be on a high blood pressure medicine till the end of your life. Or you can fast and lose weight and lower your blood pressure, and you don't need the medicine. But we don't want to tell you that. We don't want to tell you to do an 18-hour fast every day. And it's not hard, because if you stay away from the M&Ms, the Oreos, the Fritos, and all the carbs, you really don't get hungry from broccoli, and avocados do not make me hungry. And so you eat and you get full. Now I get my Chinese food. I don't eat the whole freaking thing. I get General Chow. I get a dinner, and it's a box like this. And I eat about half of it. I'm like, okay, I'm done. And psychologically, I'm like, okay, I could eat the whole thing, but I'm not going to. And then Sunday, I finish it off. And that's what I do with Chinese food. I don't have that, because I don't have the Fritos, chips, cookies. I don't have that massive I need to eat in me. So I get away from it. So then when I have food, I just eat a little bit and I'm done. And I don't force feed myself into eating more of it, right? So I've eaten it, okay, and off I go. And you don't even worry about food, but once you get rid of the food, your body doesn't need shit. It'll clean itself up. It'll regulate it. It'll heal your broken bones. It'll heal whatever created you to have Xanax. You won't need. Just you then relax and let your body heal itself. And your body will heal itself. And that's the thing nobody wants to tell you. They want you to keep taking Xanax for the rest of your life, or blood pressure medicine, or any of that. That's what's happening. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't take. What I am saying is you do your fast and you stay away from sugar, and you'll be very, very healthy. I know, because I do it. And yes, I have a cold, so there's nothing. But I can still fast and get rid of the cold, right? But I just got it. I can't control catching a cold. But a lot of the stuff, like my feet, were bothering me. I fasted. They haven't bothered me since. Anyway. So you can see what's happening in China. So be careful. It's going to happen here. Greg and John, my father always said the less crap you put in your body, better off you are. Well, you got to know what's good and bad for you. And the best thing you can do is let your body heal itself. Once you get that concept of, I'm going to get out of my body's way, not take the medication. All right, I'm taking ibuprofen because I don't know what the fuck I did with my back. It's painful. It does help it. It seems like a pinched nerve or a nerve. Okay, I probably did something in the pool. Okay, well, that's got nothing to do with what I ate. So I just need to figure out how to fix that. But that's the whole point of it. The body cleans itself out. And I've told you that Stan Egberg, I've shown you the doctor, his channel. I'll show it to you again. So if I go into subscriptions, so if you go into this guy's channel, and I'll leave it to you to determine it, this guy's a fucking genius, and he explains it very well. Here he's talking about blood pressure. Well, who are you going to ask about blood pressure? I can't help you with blood pressure. I'm not a doctor. But if you watch this, I guarantee you'll go, oh, fuck. 10 high blood pressure signs you should never ignore. Well, first of all, go get your blood pressure checked, and then you won't have it. Top 10 foods to unclog arteries, natural. So he's telling you eat this instead of that, you'll unclog your arteries. Who's telling you this? Right? Sign of kidney disease. You know, you're going to the toilet all the time. Okay, well, I'm not going. My kidneys must be fine. Here's photography. This is what I talk about. Activity of photography for a long life, but don't do this. So he'll tell you what not to. But that's what I talk to you about is this photography. It kicks in after 18 hours. This is what cleans your body out. Anyway, that's really that's the point. You watch a guy like that, that's how I learned, right? That's what he tells you, fast and stay away from sugar. So I give you information I got from him. I know it's not my information, but I'm passing it on because it works. Because it happened to me. I lost all this weight, got my blood pressure from 180 to 120 because I ate like an idiot. I had a lot of sugar. I ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or late dinner, or whatever. I never did this. I just started fasting and I got away from high fructose corn syrup. And all of a sudden the weight just dropped off me and I keep it off. I'm still thin. I showed a girl I hadn't seen in a while and I went over to her house and I said, look, I lost my stomach. And she didn't believe me because I had a coat on. I unzipped my coat and there was this flat. And she was like, oh my God, you did lose your stomach. I didn't do anything. It's not even a diet. I've never dieted with this guy. It's simply eat your food that you know. So when I go grocery shopping, I'm buying certain foods, the veggies, the eggs, half and half, the green tea, the steaks, the meat. That's what I'm buying. So that's all I have in the house. I don't have Fruit Loops and Lucky Charms and Oreo cookies in the house, so I'm not eating them. And I'm very conscious about not buying that shit. So when I go to the grocery store now, I go fruits, veggies, meat, and that's it. And that's what I eat. And it basically, so once in a while, I'll treat myself. My birthday's coming up. I'll probably get a cake, or Thanksgiving was a pumpkin pie, or you get ice cream, but it's okay. But I realize I do it. And then I go back to my 18-hour fasting and it cleans me up. So I'm not eating it every day. My cells are fucked up. It's a little bit. So they're fucking my cells up a little bit. But then I 18-hour fast, which is just my normal eat dinner and don't eat till lunch, and it cleans me up. I just went to the doctor for my foot. My blood pressure was 124. I was worried because I was eating, I had a lot for like Christmas and everything, which is probably why my foot bothered me. I was 124. I was happier than shit. Going, fuck, apparently my body's so good right now that even if I have a pumpkin pie or a gallon of ice cream, I'm gonna regulate and clean myself, and that's what happens. So that's really what you want to get to, but it's not a diet. I never once think of this as a diet. It's just this is what I choose to eat, and if I want to have a piece of cake, I have it. But I don't have it every day. I'll have a treat. So like I won the football game, so I went out and had a nice little treat. I had some ice cream and cake or whatever because I won the football games. Super Bowl. No, then I might treat myself. I might get chips or I might get ice cream. It's the Super Bowl and have a nice little, have some ribs. Maybe I'll go get ribs at the barbecue place and go buy a gallon of ice cream for dessert. It's the Super Bowl. I might do that, but that's it. It's for the Super Bowl. And then I won't. The next 3 days I'm 18-hour fasting eggs and hamburgers to keep my body healthy again. So my body's very quick to get rid of the crap because I don't have a lot of it. If there's this huge pile of crap, of course it's going to take a while. But if you don't have a huge pile, now I eat some cake and the pile gets up to here and I fast for 18 hours, they've cleaned the pile and they've kept me clean. So once they do that, you're fine. Anyway, that's kind of what happens. So that's why I don't get into Grega's situation with the medication. And I can see your lawsuit because that, but I don't know how, they're going to get away with it saying, well, you didn't tell me you were allergic to it. How would you know unless you took an allergy test? And how do you know you're allergic to it now? Maybe you are, but without an allergy test, but I just wouldn't take it anymore. So be very careful going even to see a doctor and taking any meds. Just eat healthy, no high fructose corn syrup, no carbs, no bagels, no toast. Just go for, you can have it once in a while, Sunday buffet, okay. And then the rest of the week, you're not eating that shit. Just do that. You'll find that your body will clear itself out and clean it, and you won't need it. That's really the key. Let your body clean it. Don't fuck around with this. So that's really what you gotta understand. But this, like I said, the worst I do. This is vitamin D, but it's herbs, and this is the same thing. This is a bioactive. This is basically herbs. This isn't a drug. I'm not taking a drug here, and it's very good to clean you up. So that's all I take when I'm taking herbs, and I'm taking healthy stuff, not bad stuff. What's in Xanax, I don't know, but I could have talked to my friend. If you would have told me, you'd have said, Greg, Howard, I have this problem. I would have talked to my friend who is head of the lifeguards where I swim, and I said, this is your problem. You have this, that, and that. She would have she would probably put you on this, or not that she put you on it, but she would have given you stuff like that to take, and not Xanax, and you wouldn't have been allergic to it, and you would have healed very quickly. So that's it. So I got to take some more of this for my back, just to see what the fuck's going on. I might do it after I swim, because I don't know if I put it on and then I go swimming. But I don't even know if I can swim or not. I don't know what's good or bad for me. Do I go stretch it in the pool, or do I rest it? What's better for my thing? So I think I'll look on YouTube and see what they say about psychotic nerves, or whatever they're called, psychotic, or whatever the name is, and just see what they say to do. A lot of times it's stretching, but we'll see. We'll see what they say. But I'll listen to this guy for that, or somebody like him. And that's where I get the advantage, because I can read people and I can say this guy's full of shit, or this guy knows what he's talking about. So when I give you this guy, he knows what he's talking about. When I give you my friend at swimming, she knows what she's talking about. I can tell. So that's a big plus for me, is I know who to listen to and who not to listen to. I mean, there's guys who just say, fuck, like the guy at the bank, get an annuity. Fuck you. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to listen to you. Why do I want to be in fiat money? And he was starting to tease me, because he said, well, yeah, it's going to zero. And I'm like, look, I don't care if you believe me or not. I know it's going to zero. I don't need your if say. I don't need you to tell me that, or I'm not asking for your opinion or your approval on it. I already know, right? So that was my point. I know what's going on. I don't need your approval. I'm not asking for it. As far as I'm concerned, you're an idiot. And, go crawl back in your corner. You got to take a meeting. This is the best thing you could do, is listen to me, but you're too stupid to do that. You want to fight me, and you can't win a fight with me. So anyway. So what else? Poker, with the cold and everything, I didn't play, but I might play this week. With the Super Bowl, it's probably a good thing to go Saturday. Again, I can read everybody at the table pretty easily. But at the end of the day, you need cards. If I know somebody's decent, but I have a 2-9, I can't. There's nothing I can do. I had one guy say, well, you need to bluff more. And I go, well, first of all, there's $3 in the pot. So I'm not going to bluff $30 to win three. And I said, you've got to understand bluffing. If you have a full house, I can't bluff you out. I can only bluff you out when you really don't have a good hand. And I can't just assume you just have a decent hand that I can bluff you out. I don't know if I can bluff you out. I could go all in. You might call because you might have a pair of kings and you're one of these players that thinks kings are good and you're not going to fold it. I don't know. So you can't just say bluff. Bluffing doesn't help you. Bluffing is not the answer. It's probably the weakest thing you can do. You do it once in a blue moon. What I tend to do with the way I bluff is when nobody has any card. When the betting is flop, check, 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 turn, check, 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 check. Okay, now it's obvious nobody has anything good. Now, if I'm on the turn and it's check, 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 then I'll make a $15, $20 bet. And if it gets through, now it might be draws, so somebody might be on a straight or a flush. Otherwise, they're probably going to fold. And then on the river, if the board doesn't really match, then I can try to bluff the board, and they'll probably go out because they don't have anything. And my image is you better not call me unless you have something. So that's kind of what you do. But just to say go bluff, what is that? It doesn't help you. You got to know when to bluff. Against whom do you bluff? And that's it. Like I said, I was sitting next to this Russian girl, and she'd bluff, and then when she got a hand, she checked, and she was out smoking, and I went out, go to the bathroom, and I talked to her, and I says, you have such a big tell, you have no idea. And I told her tell. I says, when you have a hand, you check it. And she was going to Florida anyway, and I didn't know her that well, but she was nice, and so I told her, I says, you've got to bet your hands. If you're going to bluff that much, you've got to bet your hands, because then it's an obvious you've got a hand because you're checking. All right, that's about as obvious as you can get. Somebody who bets, and then they get a hand and they check it, obviously have a hand because they want to keep you in. The bluff is to get you out. So if you got to understand logic, why do I bluff you? I want you to fold. I don't want you to call me because that's what a bluff is, right? I want you to fold, and I'll take the pot down. So if I got three aces, now I don't want to bluff you and get you to fold. I want to keep you in, so I make a smaller bet or I check. Well, that's obvious, but the bluff's obvious too because you're betting a lot. Confusing, or do you have a hand or are you bluffing? But if you start checking – when you have a hand, now you're saying, if I have a hand, I'm going to check, and if I don't have a hand, I'm going to bluff. Well, that's an easy tell there also. So that's what she's doing. So anyway, I told her that. She had no clue, and then she started betting a little bit more on her hands. So she got a full house. She's betting it. I says, because your image is that you're betting a lot, and I know you're bluffing, but I'm special, right? Most people – I mean, I don't know if they just fold to her bluffs or what, but I caught her a few times where she bluffed me, and I went all in on her because I hide my hands. So I have a pocket aces and an ace hits, and she's betting $100 on a bluff, and I'm going over the top, going, oh, let's make it 200. Because I don't. Knowing I'm playing her, so here's a perfect example. I know I'm playing a bluffer who likes to bet. So I'm not going to come out with my $20 or $30 pre-flop. I got aces. I'm going to check to her because she's going to bluff. So she bets her bluff. I call it. She has no idea I got aces because her bluff takes her out of reading me. I just call. The next hand, the next card comes. It's ace 2-5. I got trip aces. I check. She then makes another $100 bluff. She still has no clue what I got because she's betting her bluff to get me out. And what she needs to do in that situation is ask herself, why am I calling? That's what I find most people don't do at a poker table. If I make a $30 bet and you call me, my first question is why? You want a straight or flush draw? Do you have a pair? Why are you calling me? Because you got to have something to call. That's why it's hard to bluff when somebody calls you. You know they have something, or they're not calling you with king, with jack 3 offsuit and the board 6-7 and an ace. They're not calling you, they're folding, right? So that's how you know they've hit something, because they're calling you. Now, maybe they're on a straight or flush draw. That you got to see. Is there 5, 6, 7 out there? Is there 2 diamonds out there? What is out there that they're calling you with? But you've got to be very careful. Beware of the caller, not the checker. But that's what you're doing. But if you get somebody to bet for you, now your hand's concealed. So if I'm just playing and I don't have the bluffer at my table, I come out with $20, $25 because I got aces and it's before the flop. Now I'm saying, hey, I got a big hand, right? I got a big hand. I'm betting it. And if I get callers, they're probably got a small pair. So then if the flop comes, I got to be careful that they didn't hit the flop. So I will make a small bet, big enough to get them out, but not too big that they come over the top of it. So in other words, if I bet 20 and I get 2 callers and then it's check to me, here's the flop, check, check. I know they probably have pairs, because if I got aces, I doubt they have ace king. Maybe they have king queen. Regardless, maybe they have queens or jacks. So if they check to me, I'm going to bet like 30. It's enough if they miss to get them out, but not too much that if they come over the top for 100, I have to call, right? So if it's check, check, 30 is about right to get them out. If they go check raise me, I fold because I know they got it, but it cost me 30. And if they just call me, then they have the queens, jacks, or tens. They don't know what I got. They don't want to rate. They're not check raising me because they didn't hit the set. So then you go from there and you go, oh, okay, I got them. They didn't check raise. They called me but didn't check raise me. They got queens, jacks, tens, something like that. And the turn and the river. And again, unless I'm checked raise, I know I got the pot. And so therefore, that's what you do. So that's how you get away. But if I bet, let's say I bet 75 on the flop, check 75, and now the guy goes over the top and goes all in on me, I'm fucked because I just put in 75. I put in 25 people. I got 100 in the pot, and now he's check raising me. I can't get away. But if it's 25 and let's say 30, I can get away. I lose 50 with aces. He hit the set on me, but it's a whole lot better than losing 300. And that's how you have to play poker, because it's so much with the 5 middle cards that I really don't like. I think Texas Hold'em's a stupid game. I really don't like it. I prefer 7-card stud or 7-card stud high-low is a much better game than this. I mean, Hold'em, there's so much luck involved in Hold'em. I could have aces, you could have kings, and one of the 5 cards is a king. Is pure luck. It's not skill that the river was a king. And the skill is that. That's what I don't like about Hold'em, is there's too much luck involved, which there is. 7-card stud, there's no middle card, so if you get it, you get it. Now, you can still luck out and get the king on the river, which gives you 2 pair, and you beat me, that's fine. But, there's always luck involved in anything. But Texas Hold'em, there's too much luck. You got 5 community cards. That's ridiculous. This is really a stupid game. This is why people lose at it. The thought that you can do well in it, you're out of your mind. You can't. It's too much luck, which is why if you get aces, you have to play it the way I play it. $20. Maybe I get one caller who's got a pair or king queen or something. The flop comes, and I've got a bet to protect my hand. I can't check because then he gets more community cards, right? And if I give him if I let him see 5 cards and I got a pair of aces, I'm probably going to lose because between the straights, the flushes, the 2 pairs, the sets, there's too much garbage out there for him to hit with the 5 community cards in his 2. And all I got's aces. Aces is a shit hand and hold them after the flop, right? So you've got to watch the betting. What's he doing to me? If he checks and I bet 20 and he calls, then I got to protect my hand. And then the next bet, if he checks, will be 50 and hope he didn't hit it. Now, mostly they'll fold the flop. So if I bet 25 and he hasn't hit his set, he's got a pair of 5s, and I got 20. Now I'm betting 25 or 30. He's got 5s. He didn't get the set. There's no straight. He's probably going to fold because he knows he's way behind with the 5, so he's not going to pray for the third 5 or something. So usually once you get the turn out there, if they haven't, they're not chasing you down. If they didn't hit the flop, pretty much the hand's over. And that's what you need to protect yourself. You got trips and there's 3 diamonds out there. You're fucked. You got to bet it, and you got to bet it as protection. I'm betting a lot to protect my hand from letting the other cards come out to give him a straight or a flush. So you got to make a big bet. So he says, well, yeah, I'll probably not get it. I'm going to fold. Where you don't make it, you can't bet $20, he'll call. But if you make it 100, he's like, fuck, I got to see 100. What if I don't catch my flush or my straight? Now what do I do? Because then he's going to come back with 100. So pretty much it's so much money they fold instead of seeing that card missing, because you're going to miss a whole lot more than you're going to hit, right? So that's why you bet a lot when they're on a flush or straight draw, because A, you're protecting, and B, you make it so much they're not going to stay in to try to catch it. So you always got to protect your hand. That's the very key concept in poker with these community cards, because they're going to, it's not just their 2, it's the shit being dealt in the middle that they have to, they can catch on you. And if you catch, it doesn't matter. I got aces, so I don't care if an ace comes off. Now I got 3 aces. Well, I was fine with 2 aces. So that's what you start realizing is that kind of, you need to protect your hand. So you got to bet enough to protect it. And that's really what's going on. But that's how you play poker. It's protection. It's a lot like football. Betting football is a lot easier. You can't get lucked out on. They can maybe score a late touchdown on you. But look at Cincinnati, Kansas City. Okay, KC won at the end, but you had 7. What do we have? 7.5 points. So we won anyway. And there's no protection. It's the game's played. And, if you got Joe Burrow, you're going to probably be there. So you're not really protecting. You could protect a bet made with an opener. So I got a 3-team teaser. I won the first 2. The last game's Monday night. I got Philly minus -1.5. I got Kansas City at 7.5 for $1,000 with the other 2 parts of it, just to say. Let's say there was 3 games left. So I hit the first 2, and I got KC plus 7.5 for $1,000. I can protect my bet with insurance going, I'll take Philly minus 1.5 for $500. And I either win 5 and lose the 1,000, or I win the 1,000 and I lose the 5, or I win them both. If Philly wins by a field goal, I win that and that. I win them both, but I can't lose them both. So that's a protection. That's a insurance bet that I can't lose them both. I could win them both. And, and I don't want to risk 1,000. It's more than I wanted to risk. Now, maybe you want to risk 1,000, so you don't do anything. It's just the option there that you are, you're paying, you're getting insurance for your bet, which is a good thing to do sometimes. It all depends how you're running and your bankroll and, like we're way up. So just to bet KC and the over, and if it loses, it loses. I'll be fine. Uh, but I'm up so much, it's ridiculous. So therefore, it's a decent sized bet, but nothing that's going to hurt me. And off you go. And that's how you got to look at it. But my bankroll's gone up dramatically in the year. So, if you look at my history, you can see where I'm at. It's like fuck. So I don't, I can afford to lose it. So that's really what you're trying to get to when you gamble, is to an amount that you can afford to lose. It's not a big deal. And as you keep winning, now you increase your amounts. That's really when you can do that, then you're really betting. If it's poker, if it's football, if it's blackjack, whatever it is, you've got to get to where, you're comfortable with the betting is kind of small enough that if you win, you're fine. If you lose, it's not a big deal. That's how you should bet. And you do much better. You're much stronger like that. So if I go play poker, I usually play 300. And if I lose it, it's like, not a big deal. That's how you get good at poker, because now you don't really have the risk. That's why I could never play against Doyle Brunson. He pulls out $1 million at the table. I don't have $1 million to pull out. There's no way I'd be able to play with him, because he could bet 100 grand and I can't call it because I don't have 100 grand to call it with. Right. Well, it's sitting in gold and silver, but that's the problem. So we'd have to be at a same stakes to do it. That's why I play the 1-2, because then it's a no-brainer. I'm not worried about losing the $300 or betting the 10 or whatever. Then I'm just playing, right, with no fear of, oh my God, this is rent money or this is food, or I don't know how people play like that. Oh, man, I'm playing for rent. You got to be out of your mind. How can you play like that? Way too much pressure. But that's like the good gamblers do not. They're playing with excess money that they can easily, if I lose, no big deal. I can see it's sauna and hot tub tonight just for the cold. We will see about the nerve, the pitch nerve, or whatever I got. What do we got? 2:00. All right. It's amazing. I talked for 2 hours and it's nothing. It's just, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Oh, 2 hours passed. So anyway, so that's really poker, and that's really gambling. It's got to be relaxed. You have enough pressure to make it exciting, but if I lose the Super Bowl bet, not a big deal at all. And that's where you try to get to. But again, you've got to, when you're playing poker, your thoughts should be why. Why did he make that bet? Why did he call my bet? Why did he raise my bet? What is my image? So if I make a bet and I'm called, I'm like, what did you call me for? Right? Why are you calling me? And it's usually they're on a draw or they have a pair, but they don't have enough to raise you. They have enough that they want to call you. So they got a decent hand, but they don't have a really good hand where they're raising you. And my image is that usually I'm in, I got a good hand. Because they don't know when I'm bluffing. Or I don't bluff too much. So they put me on hands as opposed to putting me on bluffs. So therefore, when I'm in and I make a decent bet, they figure I got a good hand. They're not going to go raise me, and they got to really think to call me, figuring, well, he's got a good hand, I'm going to lose. So I get a lot of people out like that. So it's kind of anti-raising. It's anti-bluffing. It's like I'll make a big bet or $40, $50 bet, and the guy's like, fuck, he's not bluffing. I got a decent hand, not that good. I'm going to fold. And that's really the best bluff, because you kind of have a hand, but you get the guy out because he's scared that you got a good hand. So that's why I say you don't really need the bluff. You just need to make good. It's all the betting. But by his betting, I can tell what he's got, and that's how that's really how you play. So you see they're betting, and you understand their concept of why are they betting, why are they calling, and then you've got them that way. So that's the difference too with poker at the casino than blackjack or craps or baccarat. Then you're playing the dealer. There's not that tell. The dealer's not going to give you a tell at blackjack or baccarat, that's for sure. Craps is craps. So none of that's really going to be exposed because you're not playing a person. And I'd rather play poker where I don't have that house edge on me, right? So that's why I prefer it. I remember when I first started, I had played when I was like 10, 12 years old. I started playing poker, but it was never Hold'em. So when I first started playing Hold'em, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to bet. So at first I was losing. I'd get two pair and I would be so scared to bet it. And I'm letting people catch straights and flushes on me because I wasn't protecting my hand. I wasn't making the $50 bet I needed to make to get them out. And they were catching on me. And I'm like, fuck. And I was hitting the house. I was hitting two pair of aces. I had no idea how to bet. And but I used it as a learning experience. And I took a few months off, and then I realized you can't be afraid to bet $100 in a 1-2 game, right? So it's 1-2, $300 buy-in. You cannot be afraid to bet $100 when you need to bet it, but you're going to bet it as protection. I got aces, and the board hits 6, 7 of diamonds. I am betting $100 to protect myself, and then you win. And then you realize that's how you play. Anyway, so that's what I did. And I'm very lethal because I can read people. So that if you just ask, why did you call me or why did you bet, or you try to get me out, or you try to, you're trying to understand why he bet or called. And believe me, if they make a big bet, they look up at the TV, they're not worried about you, get the fuck out. I mean, that's an automatic fold because he ain't worried about you. When do you not worry about me in poker? I'm worried, is he going to call me or not? Unless I've got 4 kings, I'm not worried about the call. So if that is the case, and he's looking up at the TV, he's got you buried. But does anybody realize that's a tell? Does anybody realize he's watching me? I'm looking up at the TV. I'm ignoring him. Therefore, do you realize, he knows I don't know that he knows I have a hand because you're looking up at the TV. You're not paying attention to me, but I'm paying attention to you. So that's probably the biggest tell. Big bet. They look up at the TV to watch the game or whatever. They got a big hand. You better get the fuck out unless you have the nuts. So things like that. Watching the bet, watching the guy. There's a few television shows, because they're not worried. If they're not worried, if they're relaxed, they got you killed. When they're nervous that you're going to call them is when, that's when you smell the bluff is they make the bet and they're kind of nervous. They don't want you to call because they don't have anything. That's a little bit harder. It's usually a big bet because they want you to fold. Because why are you making such a big bet? You're making it so I'll go out. It means you don't have anything because if you had 4 aces, you'd make a small bet to make me call so you could win my money. So the big bet tells me you don't have anything or you'd want me to call. So if you don't want me to call, you're probably bluffing. Now it's not 100% and it depends on who's doing it, but I would imagine that all in is a bluff probably 95% of the time. Right? You get to the river, he goes all in for $300. Oh, it's got to be a bluff because if you had a full house, you'd want me to call. Anyway, it's just really watching what the bet is. If you can do that, you can really win at poker. A lot better. Anyway, gold and silver, we know it's suppressed by JP Morgan. We know it's ending. We just have to be patient. Why do all the central banks, Putin, China, buying gold if it's such a bad thing to own? Obviously, it's not. So therefore, you wanna buy it because they're buying it. if you know nothing else. But we also know it's money. We also know it's way, way undervalued. So we got 15 things of why to buy it, right? Most people, if you're clueless, it's because China and Russia have a lot. And you think, well, why do they own it if it's worthless? Because it's not worthless. I mean, that's really the key of, if somebody buys something, obviously it's not worthless, so they wouldn't buy it. So running to coin out of papers is always a good thing, unless this is backed by gold. This is worthless, and therefore you want to buy the gold and silver. That's what you want. And the problem is you got to buy it now before the quantity runs out and the price goes to the moon. So before silver, you can't find it, and it's 2,000 an ounce. You buy it now, even though it's 27, and you've got to believe that it's going up a lot. You've got to like understand that it is. Sort of like believing the team's going to come back. They're down 21-0, and you go, no, they're going to win the game. And they end up winning the game. Or poker, you catch 3 aces and some guy's betting big on you. You know, what the fuck? And you realize, no, my hand's good. I mean, there's that time that you realize you're doing the right thing. And I assure you, with gold and silver, you're doing the right thing. It's just a matter of it's all blowing up. They're trying to hold it down. They can't hold it. You can't really go against markets. If the market's here and you're pricing it here, you've got to realize you're going to have to lower your price because the market's saying we're not going to pay this much, right? So $40 ribs will never happen. And they've got to understand that. Once they understand $40 ribs is not going to happen, then you move on. And then they got to lower their price. So once they understand that, they'll go. You have a girl's picture, so I'm going to call you Miss Martinez. Is that Ann Hoa? Where are you from, Miss Martinez? You have an amazing day also. I hope you learned something. I've seen you before, but Ann Hoa Martinez, I guess. Thanks for stopping by. Please ask questions. I mean, you can ask comments. That's what I like. Anyway, so keep that in mind. Gold's a good investment because the Chinese and Russians have bought so much of it. Why would they buy 40,000 tons if it's not worth it, right? So that's what you got to know and understand, even if you don't know anything about it. But I'm explaining it to you that it's the hedge against inflation. It's a real asset. It's not priced in physical, which means the price in paper is so low that it's not real. And then there'll be a physical price, which is eventually it'll eventually blow up, right? It'll eventually go, here's the real price, and it's much higher than, silver will be 2,000 an ounce. And then they try to sell you, silver will hit $30 an ounce, or silver's going to hit its all-time high at 35. And you just know these guys are so full of shit. They're not smart enough to grasp the concept of it's not physical gold, it's paper. But if you understand how the paper's derived, it's a derivative contract. There's no gold attached to it. I'm selling 1 million ounces with the thought of lowering the price. Somebody's buying it, which is the scam. So somebody buys your physical. They don't buy the physical. They buy the contract, and the price goes down to $22 an ounce for silver. And you're like, what the fuck was that all about? He didn't sell physical, and he didn't buy physical. Why would physical go down? Where's the physical price? How can there not be a physical price? This is price. This is physical. This is real. This is $50 for the bottle. It's physical. It's the bottle. This is $10 for Bellagio. You get the cup. It's real. I mean, how do you not have a price for gold and silver if you buy real is beyond me. Oh, nobody believes that it's worth anything. Then why did Hitler rob everybody in World War II? It was all about stealing their gold. Why was 9/11 a gold robbery if gold doesn't have a value? Why would the guy even put out a video saying there's $200 billion of gold under World Trade Center? Why would there be? Why would they even say anything about it if it was just not worth anything? So that's when you really got to connect the dots. And when you start seeing that, you go, fuck, this is worth a ton. I can buy it cheap. Thank you, JP Morgan. They're too stupid to start raising the price. That's what they should be doing. And then people will realize, oh, shit, I should have owned it. Now I can't get it. I can't get silver at the 27. It's going to cost me $2,000. Gold's going to cost me $40,000 for the ounce. I'm fucked there. If you really don't want people to buy gold and silver, that's really what you need to do, not this bullshit. Don't buy it. It's got no value, but actually show the value. And then they see they can't buy it because it's too expensive. That's really what you should be doing. But they're it's a bunch of idiots. It's all a Ponzi scheme. That's what the government is. They steal your money. Oh, you want Social Security? Well, here's 20 people paying in, and it's costing them $50,000, and we'll give you $2,000. Seems fair to me. I mean, what the fuck are they doing? Anyway, you have to understand it. That's the key concept right now that I'm trying to explain. Is you must understand what you're doing. Like Greg and John did not understand Xanax, right? He didn't know he was allergic, which is fine, but he did know there's another way to do it, which is the fasting and no sugar, no carbs, and you would get healthy that way. You don't need the drugs. So if you understand the game, or poker, or gold, or football, you need to understand what's going on. Then there's always options. There's always multiple ways to do it. So what do? Buy silver. Why? Because it's so undervalued because they're not pricing it there. Oh, okay. Bet your aces. Why? Because if you don't, there's 5 more cards coming out, and the guy with 8, 9 of diamonds is going to catch a straight or a flush on you because you're letting him see all 5 cards. So you got to get the whole concept down. And that's really what it is. And that's why people are blindsided. Madoff, I wouldn't have given him 5 cents. Well, you get a 20% return. And how the fuck does that possibly happen? It's impossible. What are you doing to get 20%? If he gives me, well, I can't tell you, then I'd tell him to go fuck himself. Because I'm an INFG, he would not have been able to control me. Most of the people are just mindless people that don't understand. They'll just say, oh, you're getting 20%. Oh, okay, great. I'll take 20%. And then he's actually paying it out. And that's you got an even bigger problem because now it's like, look, I'm making 20% with this yo-yo. And so, okay, I'll jump in and get 20. Well, if you're getting the money, it must be good. What is he buying? We don't know. I mean, that's where you really, like, if somebody tells you that, they better be able to explain how it. And if they don't want to explain it, then it's a scam. Right? I just explained football, poker, and gold to you. I can explain it to you. So and I don't really get anything. I mean, I get paid for football, but gold and poker, I'm not making any money. I'm just helping. So therefore, that's what you got to understand. But I explain it to you. So as long as you get the why, then you're like, oh, okay, makes sense. If he would have said, I buy these stocks, you would have said, how do you not lose? Because you should lose, because you can't pick stocks or football or poker. You can't play it 100% right. There's going to be errors or just things that shouldn't happen that normally do. How do you, it's like me saying I pick 100% football. You'd be like, fuck you. You can't do that. And I can't because of different things that come up. No, I can't. I do pretty well. I mean, I hit the 4 games before championship week, and then with the championship week, the 2 games, I hit both of them. So yeah, I mean, so I'm 6-0 the last 6. Really, the only real game of the playoffs I missed was Buffalo, Miami. because Buffalo's third string quarterback lit up, or Miami's third string quarterback lit up Buffalo. Otherwise, I hit every game. Had Cincinnati, Baltimore, had San Diego, Jacksonville, had Frisco, Seattle, had the Giant mini over. And then, the only one I lost Tampa Bay. That's the only one I lost is Tampa Bay and Buffalo, overvaluing Tampa, and then Miami's third string quarterback lights up Buffalo, which is like really. That was it. So it was a pretty good playoff so far. Kansas City and 7.5. We'll see. I don't really have much to go. I gotta play a team because I got the over under and I'm doing teasers. So it's got to be that. If you ask me not to play a teaser, I just would tell you to play the over, and I wouldn't pick the team. I'd only pick the game if I had Philly as the dog. Excuse me. And really, that's because they have the better defense, but I'm not even sold that their defense is really a 19. The way they gave up 40 to Dallas and 33 to Green Bay, I'm not sure that they are a 19. Anyway, I don't think they're going to stop Mahomes. I think he scores. I think they grab the lead. I think Philly runs. I think it'll be high scoring and a 3-point game. That's how I view it. And maybe KC blows them out. I don't know. Once they get rolling, you got to trust Hurts to get you back. You're in big trouble. Anyway, so that's that part of it. The economy's crashing. So you got to understand that, right? So if the economy is crashing, you get out of the stock market. Really, if this fiat currency is crashing, you get out of everything fiat. Stocks, bonds, anything that relates to that. Now, gold is its own entity, doesn't rely on the dollar, so therefore it doesn't matter. Crypto does, so crypto you got to get out of. Anyway, any other questions, comments? What do you want to know? What else? Economics. I think we talk about that a lot. There's only so many spots I could go, right? I can define inflation. I can define money, taxes, all that stuff. A good government, get the government out of it. Say's law, Adam Smith. You don't want to have Keynesian communism. It doesn't work. It controls people. Who wants that? Especially us. We've all known freedom, so we don't. It might work better for the Russian people who don't know any better, but for the Americans, we know freedom. I don't want to be a prisoner to, especially to Biden and those idiots. You got to be kidding. So just be careful with that. But we know what we want. We want gold to go up, silver to go up. It will soon. And that's what I got. So I think that's it. Let me give you a few minutes to ask any questions or comments. www.teaserking.com. You can look at my history. You can get my email and ask me some questions. I like having the live chat so you can ask me as we go, like Craig and John does, and Ryan and Nick and those guys. So that's really what you want to go with. Outside of that, just have a good nice day. I'll be on tomorrow. We'll see what new things we can dig out of YouTube and the Chinese balloons and all this crap, craziness. I'll watch a few of those just to see what's going on, but always ask the question, why? Why did the boss do this? Why did the girl do that? Why did the guy do this? Why did they call me at poker? Why did the line move? I mean, it's action reaction. So you always want to react properly of why did it do it? That's really what you want to do. So you want to understand the action and the reaction and make sure it makes sense to you. Oh, there's a big balloon. It's Chinese. How do you know it's Chinese? Does it say China on it? First of all, it's the wrong color. It should be red, not blue. It's Chinese. Anything, it'd be Russia for blue. I think the Russians are blue. Anyway, so that's really the key to it. don't assume 9/11. No, it was really a gold robbery. It was not a terrorist attack. So you've got to ask the questions and you got to get the answers. The answers they give you are bullshit. Where was the plane? So wait a minute. We had the F-14 on the ground, and then the first one attacks us. So we don't even have it in the air. But after the first one attacks us, we don't then say go in the air and go before the second one attacks. Really? And why would that be? Who's the moron doing that? Because that's our protection. Why would we not be protecting the trade centers? That's the big question, right? That nobody seems to answer. What the fuck were the planes? Well, it was their day off. Oh, really? They take a day off from protecting us, and they just happen to know that was the day off? So you're telling me the terrorists or the Israelis knew that the planes were going to be on the ground and not come up? They do this, and they knew the building was going to be demolition like Stardust, and and there's Brinks trucks and all this shit. They all, and then the guy who's on the 105th floor or wherever the plane hit just happened to have his whole company off for the day. Let's take a vacation day on a Monday or a Tuesday. We're all gonna take a vacation day. That happened to be the floor that got leveled. Oh, okay. Yeah, that seemed perfectly fine, not a coincidence at all. So anyway, you always got to question everything to the point of where it makes sense. And then you go, okay, yeah, okay, I don't have to question it now. It does make sense. So like when I tell you to bet KC or the over, you question it. You should. Why is he like it over? And then I say, because the offenses, Mahomes and da should be high scoring. And you go, yeah, it should be. And then you're done. Then you go, okay, I question it. It makes sense. No, make the bet. And if it doesn't make sense, then you come on and you ask me, I don't like the bet. And then I try to explain. But see, I explain it. Most people aren't going to explain the bet because they don't have a fucking clue. And they should be able to explain their poker. They should be able to explain their gold. I buy gold because of the inflation, and it's been underpriced for 50 years. The paper price is not real, and I'm waiting for the physical price to come in. That pretty much sums it up. You can't really argue with that logic. You can't say, well, I guess it is what it is. I mean, that now you can question, is the physical market coming? If it's been 50 years, why is it going to come? And I'll say, well, the Russians and Chinese bought it all, and now they want the price to go up. And JP Morgan's trying to keep his monopoly and keep the price down, so you're in dollars. But it's collapsing because all these countries don't want to be in dollars. And then you go, well, it makes sense. Now, that's what should happen. It probably will. It should happen soon. But that's really why the price of gold is cheap. So you either take advantage of it or you don't. You just, I don't want gold. But then you got to figure out where do you put your money, because that is crashing. And there's nothing you can do about it. Therefore, you must ask the question, what do I do with it? All right. I'm going to go finish my lunch. I guess I'll go to the club and do some swimming or hot tubbing or something. I got to watch the doctor to see what do I do with my back? Is it better to stretch or not to use it at all? But I'll still hot tub and I'll still sauna for my nose. All right, everybody, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. And you can see my history. You get my email and contact me that way. All right. You take care. Have a good day, everybody. Be safe. Be healthy.